Hello, my dear colleagues. Long time no see. How are you today? Can you hear me well? Can you see me? Please give me a smile. How do you feel? Hello, Tamuna. Hi. So glad to see you. So today we're gonna have the interview with Victoria Besarab, your English journal. Her Instagram is Victoria. I can see your request. Just a moment, I will join you. I will add you. So guys, before we start, I would like just to remind you, I made a post that for some technical issues, for the reason of some technical issues, we are moving to the different page, and it is already created. Its name is Teach.Love.Earn. So thank you. Thank you, Eva. So guys, please visit that page. Please follow me on Teach.Love.Earn, because TESOL in Poland is gonna close, and I'll be happy to see you there. So I will add Victoria. Did you miss us? Did you miss our interviews? Hello, Victoria.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, and you?
Yeah, as well. Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Sorry?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I will actually even, just a sec, I'll fix it. Okay, I think it should be fine now. All right, so Victoria, let me please introduce you to our audience. So guys, Victoria Besarab is a CELTA certified teacher who passed CELTA with A pass. She's from Ukraine, but she's currently working and living in Poland. Victoria has a master's degree in philology, in English philology, and she worked in many different schools in Ukraine and in Poland. Currently, Victoria is doing freelance work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Victoria taught offline and online, and right now she's teaching only online. Is this correct?
Yes, that's right. Not planning to go offline anytime soon.
Oh yeah. And Victoria also writes her own lesson plans, so she prefers to have her own materials, and this is actually what we're gonna ask her about, to share the experience, to share the techniques, the methods, the ideas, how Victoria finds the authentic materials, how she selects the materials, and probably also very interesting question for the teachers, how to filter the time which you spend for creating your own materials, because we all know when we go creative, it can take you forever, but we need to filter this because this is the correct way for the burnout, right?
Right.
So this is what we're gonna talk about. And also, as Victoria moved from Ukraine to Poland, and she was looking for the job in Poland, so this is also the topic which we're gonna discuss, of course, for you guys, for anyone who is considering starting a job in Poland, for example, or just in Europe, what it looks like. So we're gonna ask Victoria, what was her way to find a job, and was it difficult, was it complex, and is it any possible, and what are the obstacles that you need to keep in mind, obviously. All right, so Victoria, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Victoria, the first question, just to give an idea to our audience, for how long you've been living in Poland, and in which city do you live in? Maybe someone of the teachers is watching from the same city you are in.
Yeah, I'm currently in Krakow, in the south of Poland. I moved to Poland in 2016. So 4 years ago, I moved to Toruń. I lived in Toruń for 3 years, yeah, and then I moved to Krakow. Yeah, it was lovely. I moved to Poland right after I did my CELTA. So yeah, I did my CELTA. I started looking for a job in Eastern Europe, and I ended up finding it in Toruń in the north of Poland.
All right. And just also to give an idea, why you decided to go absolutely freelance? So what was the main idea?
Because I moved to Krakow, and at some point I was looking for a job here, and I was looking for a job not further away than a 5-minute walk, and it's a bit complicated, you know. I found one, and I got a contract 3 days before the lockdown, and obviously I didn't get any group, so I thought, why not go freelance? Why not start looking for students on my own?
And that was probably like a wonderful coincidence, wonderful from one side and like inevitable from the other side. So yeah, that's a coincidence. All right, so the most important question which we start with is the lesson materials. Victoria, could you please share your experience? How do you search for ideas? How do you search for authentic materials? What are the main components of the lessons? Which your lessons consist of? What is the skeleton that you use? Any particular parts of the lessons?
Mm-hmm. Well, I base my lessons on videos, audios like podcasts, short podcasts, articles, and so on. I just browse lots of things, and later I'm going to tell you how to reduce your time browsing things. But yeah, I spend a lot of time watching YouTube and lots of other sources, and then when I find something that I really feel that this is the topic that's going to interest my students. This is something I want to base my lesson around. This is something that's going to teach my students about something in the world. And this is how I choose materials. Of course, they should be appropriate for the level, for the age of my students. And if I have a group of B1 students, I usually watch videos at 2.0 speed, so I get an idea of how difficult it is, and yeah. And
so this is tip number 1 to save your time as a teacher, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you just speed up and you binge watch 50, 100 videos. Yeah, I know it might be a bit of a mess in your head, but whenever you see a video that you like, that you think is going to spark interest in your students, you just save it for later, or you just use it. And almost every video that is short enough, that is appropriate for your students, can be good for a lesson. So it can be good enough. You just need to exploit it. Just need to explore its possibilities. Yeah, I use Filter. If I'm on YouTube, I use Filter. I look for videos shorter than 4 minutes, and I start with those that have the highest view count, so I can I can filter those which are not popular enough, maybe. But I sometimes end up choosing videos that have 9,000 views, or sometimes even 300 views.
Sure.
Yeah, it depends on the video or the audio.
What are the ages of your students, and do you have individual students or group classes?
I teach groups and one-to-one as well. All of them are adults, and yeah, from B1 to C1. Yeah.
Okay, so can you share any resources that are your favorite, let's say? So maybe some bloggers or some podcast which you check the first.
Yeah, so first things first, I just go to YouTube and look for something that's been that has been making headlines recently, or something that's people have been discussing recently. So for example, I check Vox. They have really nice videos. Great Big Story, sadly, they got closed recently, 2 weeks ago, I guess. But they still have thousands of videos available. They're short, they're very unique, informative, and beautiful. It's called Great Big Story. It's a project by CNN. It was a project by CNN, sadly. Okay. BBC Real, BBC Ideas, BBC Three, Braincraft. Sometimes there are nice videos there too. NPR. These are podcasts that you can find. They usually have longer podcasts, but they have pieces of their podcasts available, and they have transcripts. Very useful, very convenient, it's just perfect. In terms of news articles, I go to Al Jazeera, or sometimes I check Voice of America. This is not really authentic because they adapt the articles, but still they are shorter than the usual articles, and this is where I go to if I need some news stories for my students who are interested in news. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And you create your lessons for yourself, and also you share it with other teachers. Is it correct?
Yeah, I have recently started sharing them with other teachers. And the thing is, I create a lesson plan, a very detailed lesson plan for these lessons. This lesson plan has optional activities, alternatives, ideas, and and lots of other things. Because I feel that sometimes the lessons, the worksheets that we find online, they lack these tips for teachers, and sometimes you only get to have an answer key at the end, and that's it. But sometimes you need more, more guidance, especially if you're short of time and you don't want to spend more time adding new, other tasks and creating something else for this worksheet that you have found online. So this is why I create those lesson plans as well.
And when you create the lesson plan for the teachers, do you keep it in mind that this is going to be like for somebody, or do you use it yourself before and then you share it with the other teachers? How does it happen?
I don't usually make a lesson plan like that, a detailed lesson plan like that for myself, because I create a worksheet and I use the worksheet as my lesson plan, and I do include everything I need, all the cues that help me understand that this is the transition to the next task, that now I'm going to lead into to the video. I try not to add activities which are not somehow represented on the worksheet, so it's easier for me to follow this plan that I have on the worksheet itself. So you can use those worksheets without the lesson plan, but it's good to have some tips and ideas.
And we have a question from Eva. Where do you look for inspiration, ideas for new activities?
That's interesting. I usually so first I try to use a lesson frame that is that's a typical lesson frame for a receptive skills lesson, like the ones that you learn to use on your CELTA course, for example. So you start with generating ideas, then you maybe give a prediction task, or you can work with vocabulary before watching the video. Then if we use a video, of course, and then we watch the video for the first time, and we might work with vocabulary, and then we have some response to the text, then response to the topic, of course. But it is just a frame that I bear in mind when planning, but it doesn't mean that I always have to follow it. I let myself alter it whenever I feel that I need to, and most of the tasks are very different. The ones that are similar are the first and the last tasks, discussion questions, because this is basically how you get your students to talk. And this is how you warm them up. You just ask them questions, right? In terms of interesting tasks, I read lots of blogs of other teachers, and I often find ideas in their blogs. And I set myself a challenge, you know. I made a commitment to try new things every week. And I try to find new things to try in other teachers' blogs, and then I implement those things in my lessons, and then I report to my followers and tell them what I've done, what I've tried in the past week, and I think it works. It really gets me motivated. It makes me notice things that I would like to try sometime, or some things that I've been putting off for a very long time, and then I think, okay, maybe it's time to try it because I need to try something this week. So yeah, this is how I go about it.
Victoria, I missed the question. Tamara is asking, can you please spell the site for news article which you use? Could you please repeat and spell it?
Is it Al Jazeera? I'm gonna type it, I think.
Thank you.
Jazeera. I guess this is how you spell it. Voice of America. You just look for something like this. VOA, Voice of America. Yeah. Why I go for Al Jazeera? Because they have simple articles which are usually shorter than the ones that you get on The Guardian or BBC or other websites. And they have simpler English, I'd say. Yeah.
And also there was the question, how much time does it take you to create a lesson, like on average?
Do I have to be honest on this one? Well, I try to limit the time, and I try to use the Parkinson's law to my advantage. You know, the Parkinson's law says that the task expands to the time allowed for it. So how much, like as much time as you have allocated for this task, this is how much time you're going to spend doing it. So I try to limit the time, and I try to start planning a few days before, searching for ideas. And then after I've found some ideas, after I've decided what video or podcast or article I'm going to use, it gets easier. And then I set myself a limit of 1 or 2 hours. I know it's still a lot, but I'll try to limit that to actually put it all together on Canva and get a beautiful worksheet.
By the way, what else do you use as tools for creating your lessons, like Canva or anything else?
Yeah, I use Canva and I use a template, and that's very important to use a template. There are lots of ready-made templates. You can choose just one, adapt it a little bit to your, to make it more personalized, and then use the same template from your previous lesson. Just copy your previous lesson and then make any adjustments that you need. But most of the things, most of the tasks, most of the instructions are the same from lesson to lesson, like watch the video and check your answers, or discuss the questions. It might sound simple, but it takes time to write that down. So if you have the same lesson, and if you just copy it and then make adjustments, in your next lesson, for your next lesson, you just save a great deal of your time. Yeah, and you don't need to look for another font. You don't need to choose new colors. You don't need to think where to place the title of the lesson, because you know that it's going to be there in that little frame on the left or on the right, whatever. So it does make your life easier. So I use Canva. What else? I guess that's it.
Because it's quite like there is a limit, right? There is something like Canva Pro and some pictures you cannot use or some features, but before that they're very generous. I think you can use a lot of instruments actually there, the tools,
Yeah.
and thanks to them. And actually, as you mentioned, that you do not have to create every time, like each time a new template. It means that you also keep your personal design so that your lesson plan or your materials, your worksheets are recognizable, that this is done exactly by Victoria, no one else.
Yeah, and you don't need to copy your copyright every single time. It's always there. The page is always there. The numbers of the pages, like 1, 2, 3. And also it makes your students feel safe when they know that they are going to have the same structure of the worksheet. They don't need to look for the title of the lesson every time. They know that it's going to be that there in that corner and or in the middle. They don't, you know, they feel much safer. And you, as a teacher, when looking through your lessons, your previous lessons, you save a lot of time just because your brain doesn't need to adjust every single time to a new font, to a new design. You know that this is the design that you have created and it's the same and it's consistent for all your lessons.
That's right. And also we had a question, do you teach students from Poland? Are they Polish? Or do you have anyone from other countries as well?
Actually, most of my students are from Ukraine or Russia. I have a lot of students from Poland who are not Polish, but they're from Uzbekistan or Ukraine. I have a student from the US, but he's originally from Mexico. But most of my students live in lots of different countries. Originally, they are from Slavic. Most of them are from Slavic countries, but they usually live in lots of different countries, like France, Germany, the UK, and they have local accents, and like you will never tell that they are Slavic because they speak with French, German, or American accents. So it's pretty funny.
Sure. But tell us, how was it like your first years when you just moved to Poland, your first experience in the school where you probably, I assume you had only Polish students. So how was it?
Well, it wasn't easy because when I started working here, I didn't speak Polish at all. I would say I learned it in a year to pass B2 exam. So I was pretty.
Bravo! Very
yeah,
well.
I didn't learn it. I didn't learn it intentionally. I just listened to my students use it. And I never spoke it. I only spoke at supermarkets or in the local government, which is urząd. Every person from Poland knows what it is. So these were the two
office. Just for our audience, immigration office. It is, guys.
Yeah. So it's this is where I used Polish, and some of my employers told me not to tell my students that I can understand them. Mm-hmm. Actually, all of them, both of them, told me not to tell my students that I can understand them. So I pretended that I didn't understand them. But whenever there was something happening where my help was needed and I was the one in charge and my Polish was definitely, it would be handy. I switched to Polish, or I could understand Polish, and children saw that. But somehow they forgot it. The next time I pretended that I didn't understand them. I don't know how it worked, but they just didn't get it.
They were young learners, so then they forgot. Like they forget very easily, very fast.
And this is actually another thing, another peculiar thing about Poland is that most of the students here are going to be primary students, because this is the largest market in Poland. There are lots of kids and they're all learning English. and yeah, so
Pretty
be prepared.
intensively, yeah. They have a lot of classes in the state schools. I mean,
Yeah.
lessons during the week.
And what is also different from where I have taught before is that most of the schools offer lessons on site in state schools. So if you work for a language academy, you are very likely to actually work in a state school after the students' lessons. Not always, but in many schools, they have this option, and they do encourage their teachers to go and work like that. And that can be challenging if you don't speak Polish, because if you're in an environment like that, it's a very hectic environment, you know, a primary school in Poland where everyone is running, screaming. You need to have at least, you know, some understanding of Polish, at least a few words, like survival words that will help you find the classroom, find the students, and yeah, so you need to know those things.
That's right. Sorry, I just lost the question. So you told me that you started consulting some other teachers who want to actually move from to Poland, or they're already in Poland and they want to become teachers in Poland, right? So here is also the question from my side, so that you can advise our dear colleagues, our audience who will be watching the interview. What are the steps? What is the process? So, like, you came to Poland with your suitcases. What's next?
Yeah, so the easiest way to find a job here is to actually go to the school where you want to work at and just show up. Just tell them that you exist. There is a bit of native speakerism here. It's still persistent. This idea of native speakerism is perpetuated here. So it's better to show up, to show that you are a good personality if you are not a native speaker, that you are a great, a qualified teacher, not just send in your CV, but just go in there, write that school, and bring in the CV and asking them to call you back if they like you. I know that it's hard to do it if you are out of Poland, but if you have a chance to travel to Poland for a holiday or to do your CELTA course, it's good to actually go and talk to your future employer, because you'll have a much higher chance to get to an interview. Once you get to an interview, it's very important to ask them about all the types of contracts that they offer, because this can be a bit complicated here. It's very vague, and the employer never knows how much you're going to take home. They never know how much you are actually going to earn. So it's good to be clear on this one before you sign the contract, because they might say, okay, we're going to pay you 50 zloty gross. And you're like, okay, that sounds like a lot. 50 zloty. And then after you've signed the contract, after you have started teaching, you get your first invoice, and it's not 50, it's 35 or even less. It's about 30, I guess. Yeah, depends on lots of different factors, whether you're 26, whether you are students, whether your parents are insured here, whether you're eligible for any reliefs. So it's a very complicated topic. So use a calculator, because there are lots of calculators here. It's called brutto.
Could you please tell our audience about the calculator?
Yeah, so there are lots of gross to net calculators. Just write brutto netto calculator, something like this, brutto netto calculator. It will help you.
Brutto is gross, netto is net.
Yeah. And it will help you find what your approximate salary is going to be like if you have this type of contract. Yeah, there are 3 types of contracts. So you can have a full-time job, you can have a contract of mandate, which is not the best contract to have. In Polish, it's umowa zlecenie. And most schools are going to ask you to have a freelance license. And you have two ways here. So you can either register your own firm, which I did. I regret it a little bit because I had it for 2 years. I had the small insurance, which was about 120 euros. And then the third year is like the middle insurance, and you pay 240, right? Around 240 euros a month without the tax, yeah? So you need to pay the tax on top of that. You need to pay your accountant on top of that. And the fourth year would be triple that sum, yeah? The first sum. So that would be 360 or something like this euros just for the insurance. That's a lot of money. If you are not planning to grow, if you're not planning to hire any other people, if you just want to be a freelance teacher, that's not the best idea. That's gonna eat all your budget.
Pretty risky.
Yeah, definitely. And you still get to do a lot of paperwork, and yeah, it's pretty complicated. So now I'm with a startup incubator, and they are just brilliant. I know it takes a little bit longer to get hold of your money, just because you have a special account in their company, and then you receive the money to that account, and then it takes time to withdraw money from that account and transfer it to your personal account. But still, it's going to save you so much money. Incubators are like the new black. They are perfect. Almost perfect.
So I may assume that it might be a little bit of difficulty with the first months, probably, because there would be the delay, something what you earned for the first month, you're probably going to receive during the second month or something. But once you are on this routine, it should be okay, I assume.
Yeah, but if you want to withdraw money, you need to talk to your coordinator, and it's going to take about a week till you actually get the money. Yeah, if you have your own company, you can spend your money anytime, as soon as your employer pays you, of course.
That's and Victoria, could you please mention, if you are with this incubator, do you pay any provision for their service or something?
Yes, and that's just it's about 50 euros, 50 euros a month. For everything, and I don't need to have an accountant. They do everything for me, and they even have their offices, which I can use whenever I want, almost whenever I want. I need to request to use them, but still, they have offices.
It's like physical office where you can come and have your lessons?
Yeah, I can. If I want to go offline, I can do that.
Sorry, there is a question. Yes, guys, it will be recorded, but you will find it in Teach.Love.Earn page. So please visit Teach.Love.Earn, and this interview, of course, will be saved. Of course. Thank you so much, Victoria, for sharing all of these ideas and all of the moments, you know, because it's especially interesting for people who are out of Poland and, for example, want to go. I'm just looking through the questions if I missed any from our audience. Seems like not. And could you please share your experience just by the feelings, the atmosphere, you know, like just a teacher, so the atmosphere with the students. How is it that you taught to Ukrainian students, and then you worked with Polish, and now you work with international as well? So any insights that you got from working with different nationalities, you know, different audience?
Well, it's been great and very rewarding, but I can't compare that because I was like a different teacher when I was in Ukraine, because I didn't know many things, and my experience can be very different just because I was a different person at that time. I didn't know as much. I didn't use as much. And the environments are very different. But I am very happy and very delighted working online and working with the people who chose me, not the school. And I think it puts a lot of responsibility on you, and that could be a drawback. But on the other hand, you feel like you want to go the extra mile for these students, because they chose you. They didn't choose the school. They chose you as a person, as a teacher, and they respect you. They like you, and that's why I like it.
They trust you.
Yeah. Exactly.
They trust you. Cool.
Right.
Victoria, could you please give an idea how the teachers can contact you to request for any materials so that you can share your lesson plans and your worksheets?
You can find me at your.english.journal. You can also find some tips. Why is it called journal? Because you can find some tips on how to keep your journal, your lexical journal there. Everyone is welcome. I'll be very happy to see you there.
And I just want to mention, guys, go visit Victoria's profile, because she has a few posts which she called something like mistakes I've learned when I moved to Poland. Like being a teacher abroad, meaning so something which Victoria did not anticipate, and then she realized that this is what it is, and some new knowledge she got during the process. So you can be inspired also by her posts, and she's sharing a lot of interesting ideas and pretty much insightful and helpful, of course. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you so much. Of course, guys, if you want also to ask Victoria any questions about being a teacher abroad in EU, in Poland in particular, so you're welcome to contact Victoria at her DM. Is it right?
Yeah, sure.
Wonderful. Okay, Victoria, for the last question, could you please give one piece of advice for the teachers who consider to move?
It's basically advice to everyone: try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things which you have been dreaming of trying for a very long time. Because I don't know why, but in the past few weeks I've been thinking about trying new techniques, new methods. I've tried DogMe. I've tried lots of activities, revision activities, and it could be as big or as small as you wish, but it's very important to try new things. Try teaching in another country. Try teaching another age group. Try teaching, try teaching someone from another country. Try teaching online if you've never tried it. Try teaching using a new method. Try teaching without a course book. So step out of your comfort zone and try new things.
That's right. It's better to try and fail than never try and then regret, correct?
Yeah.
So thank you, Victoria. It was warm and very nice to talk to you, and thank you for sharing, sincerely and honestly, all the processes you went through and all of the experience which you are going through now and the knowledge. Thank you so much. I wish you, of course, a lot of inspiration with your lesson materials, with the plans, with teaching career, and expanding. We don't have borders or limits anymore. The whole world is in front of us. So whatever the dreams you have, I sincerely wish them to come true, of course. Develop and succeed. Thank you. So you see, there are a lot of good comments, also very warm. Yeah, we should leave our comfort zones, and this is what I need. Give your dream a try. So very inspiring. This is what we aim to. All right. Thank you so much, Victoria. Guys, the interview is saved at Teach.Love.Earn. And I believe I will post it, and of course we'll write the review of our interview. And Victoria, if you could just in comments, for the convenience of our dear colleagues, to write down maybe the resources which you mentioned, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, just a second.
Once the post is there on Teach.Love.Earn, once I do it, maybe you will share in the comments.
Sure. Okay.
So thank you. Have a nice evening. Thank you guys for being with us. Also the cozy evening to you all, and see you next time.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.